Hey guys, King of Charmanders here. Alright, so we got the Fiery Slug. Yeah, okay, so here's the thing. Magcargo is a rock thrower user. It's one of like a few rock thrower users in the Love Cup that is kind of like the anti-charmer slash other fire types, just because it has rock throw. So I don't know how this thing throws rocks because it's literally has no arms, and I just don't know. Okay, maybe it chucks its shell. I've never seen the animation. But you know what? Magcargo is actually kind of an anti-tap-tap team. So it's an anti-charmer, but it also does really well. So the interesting thing is, Magcargo is a fire rock type. So this makes it for a unique combination of typings of, yeah, and it's just really weird. Now the thing is, Magcargo is actually kind of a tank. It maxes out near 1500, has high defense, about even attack and stamina. Because of that, it can actually tank a couple of hits. So, while you're chucking rocks at stuff, it's well, it's not really like Bastiodon, but it's kind of like the Bastiodon of the Love Cup. As you see here, you are weak. You are weak to fighting types and ground types. Well, you don't see much ground, but you are weak to fighting and other rock types, which is actually really ironic considering you're a rock type. It's also double weak to water. Water is the bigger issue. The only real big water type that you're going to encounter is Alomomola. So if you can avoid Alomomola and ground types, you're actually doing really well. Also, I don't foresee many fighting types to run around because of Charmers. So Magcargo is actually pretty safe. Well, situationally safe, but it's actually pretty safe. Now the thing is, you double resist fire. You also resist, you have a ton of resistances. That's what's really good about this type. As you see, you resist fire, bug, fairy, flying, ice, normal, and poison. So having that resistance against fire types as well as fairy types and flying types means this is like kind of the anti-flyer slash anti-charmer of the Love Cup. As you see, it has rock throw, overheat, stone edge, heat wave. It's a very interesting Pokemon. You can even give it Ember. However, Rock Throw is what makes this thing such a monster, because all it literally does is throw a bunch of rocks at your opponent, and it does a lot of damage, and can do it's actually, like I said, it actually is a little tanky and can take some damage. Alright, here's the PPoke.com rankings. As you see, Magcargo actually ranks pretty high overall. It ranks at number 15. Very good in the lead and the closer, not so much as a switch, just because you don't want to get switch locked into any of these. So as you see, you actually do pretty well. Ironically, it's an electric type that it loses to electric types just because, well, it loses to electro just because discharge puts so much pressure. As you see here, you have many key wins against a lot of really interesting things. You take out the steel bug type meta. You also take out Charizard, Wigglytuff, and Clefable. So you actually, if you can avoid your weaknesses, which aren't really going to be around too much, you actually take out a lot of things. This could be a really, well, I wouldn't really call it spice because it actually does pretty well overall. But you know, it's very powerful against Charmers and especially Charizard. You will pretty much, you'll toss Charizard into the next dimension. As you see, your Magcargo actually ranks at number 7, beating as what I mentioned before. It's second most powerful places in the closer. As you see here, you actually beat Electrode in the closer. You also still beat the Charmer. So the anti-Charmer potential is so strong. It also beats out, like I said, Charizard. Now, you don't want to use it as a switch because you don't want to get locked into water types. As you see here, Alomomola and Milotic are your water. Probably not so much Milotic. Alomomola is a better tank and it just does more damage. But as long as you avoid its general weakness, as you see here, which probably won't be too common, then you will actually do very, very well in the Love Cup. Alright, as you see here, as I always say, please consider donating at ppoke.com. I have Rock Throw, Magcargo. I also have Ember. You kind of want to use Rock Throw because it's what really... Well, I know you're using a tap-tap on, but it's like the anti-tap-tapper. Plus, Rock Throw, you get stabbed and you do a lot of damage. Yes, Ember got the buff. However, Magcargo doesn't have good bait moves, so unless you're in the closer, you're not going to do too well with it. I have the 2 shield right here. We're going to hit battle. As you see here with Rock Throw, you absolutely eviscerate Charizard. You even beat Crustle itself. Both Smackdown and Fury Cutter Crustle. You also beat Clefable. As you see here, Ember can allow you to beat Churm, Sunny Churm, and the other grass types, but I wouldn't say it's that important. Now, as you see here, you kind of have to avoid a lot of matchups because fighting and water types will absolutely destroy you. As you see, or anything that basically resists rock throw. As you see here, you don't do too well against a lot of them. You will also simultaneously knock out with Shadow Vileplume just because of damage. This is a very Ivy dependent matchup. As you see here, you will absolutely just rip each other apart because Shadow Razor Leaf does neutral damage. So, like I said, if you have a good, I think if you have a good IV one, you might be able to do well, as you see here. So, if you have a good IV one and they don't have a good IV like Shadow Vileplume, just assume it's like rank level 21. It's still a simultaneous knockout. So you okay, never mind. So there's no way to finish yourself out of matchup. If you see a Shadow Vileplumer, just expect the simultaneous KO. Unless you have the Ember variant, which is pretty much the only thing that really secures Magcargo for you. You still beat both Charmers, however, I think it's more valuable being able to beat Charizard and Crustle, as you see here. Charizard, Crustle, and Scizor. Those are more important matchups. So you beat the Steel Bug hybrids, and you beat Charizard because Steel is weak to rock. You do neutral damage against the Steel Rock types. As you see, pretty good. In the one shield, it gets better rather than the twos. As you see here, you still rocked out throw damage a lot of things. In the one shield, you pick up the Ember matchup with Charizard, but I wouldn't say that's that important. Also, you beat Lickitung XL, and of course, you're going to it's whoever wins CMP with the Magcargo thing's gonna win, unless you decide to just rock throw each other down. As always, avoid fighting and avoid water types. In the closer, when the no shield is Magcargo's second best position. As you see here, you flip the Slowbro matchup. You also flip Electrode in the closer, which is kind of weird, but yeah. So as you see, water, you don't like water. I would be careful because this is where Crustle and other mons will be able to take you out. As you see, Rock Slide will yeet you. Well, because you are weak to rock types, Rock Slide does take you out, so just be very careful. The no shield is pretty dangerous, especially if you're locked into a negative matchup. In the 1-0s, as you see here, you still lose against water types, but you pick up a lot of other matchups. Rock Throw does a lot of oppressive damage. Just be careful water and fighting types. So still very, very good. Like I said, in the 1-0s. In the 2-0s, you're still gonna lose against water types, as you see here, and against fighting types if you're using the Rock Throw variation, just because fighting resists rock. So that's what it is. In the 2-1s, as you see here, you drop a lot of matchups just because you're not in the zeros, but you still beat a lot of basically you beat the tap teams. You beat Charizard, you beat Clefable, you beat Crustle with shield advantage and Slowbro. So the good thing about it is no matter what scenarios, whether you're in the 2s or the 2-1s, you generally beat the same things if you use the Rock Throw one, which is the one you want to use anyways. So Magcargo, it doesn't look like it's too difficult to use. Avoid water, avoid fighting types, and avoid some other matchups in certain scenarios, and you're doing well. Alright, so I give Magcargo a 7 out of 10. As you notice, it's a pretty automatic thing to use. Like, avoid water, avoid fighting types, and avoid some other scenarios, and you'll do good. Because all you're literally doing is just chucking rocks at everything. Unfortunately, the good thing about Magcargo is it's been out for a while, so if you're looking for, an anti-fire thing, and you don't have, Charizard or something like that, Magcargo is your dude. But Magcargo does really well because, like I said, it basically wipes out the Charmers. It also takes out the Steel Rock Hybrid. So the things that actually beat the Charmers, you beat them along with you beating Charmers. So it covers a wide variety of the meta with a tap. As you see here, your only losses are pretty much against water types and fighting types. Alola and Milotic are hard to build, so if you don't happen to see fighting or water types in the meta, Magcargo actually will do very, very, very well. As you see, it can even beat some water types, mainly the confusion users like Slowbro and Slowking. Except you will simultaneously knock out, you're in a stalemate against Vileplume. So if you lead against a Vileplume, or if you get locked into a Vileplume, whichever one has more damage is going to win. They basically KO each other. It's pretty nuts. But Magcargo is still very powerful as a rock type. It is the tap, even though it's a tap-tapper, because you're chucking rocks at everything, it is the tap-tap to the anti-tap, major tap-tap. So Charmers, etc. Basically the Charmers. It's an anti-Charmer. It's a tap-tapper that beats the anti-Charmers and is very strong against a lot of the anti-Charmers, which would be the Steel/Rock types. So it's still very, very powerful. Like I said, if you're looking for something that's been out for a while, and if you already have one built, this thing isn't a bad idea to use. If you don't have a Legacy Charizard or anything like that with Blast Burn, or if you want something that's going to have a chance against the meta, and have a good chance against the meta, as long as you avoid fighters and water types, Magcargo is your dude. It will rock though everything you know to oblivion. And that's pretty much it. Like I said, Magcargo is pretty good as long as you avoid its weaknesses. It actually shapes out really good like on this meta, because the meta, like a lot of the, like I said, Electrode and Alomola, you might not see them too much. If you don't see a lot of water typings, Magcargo can do pretty well. If you like this video, please like and subscribe. I'll be doing more of these obscure. Magcargo is kind of a spice mom, but at the same time it's not, because it ranks so high, because it's just that good if you use it well. Good luck on your Battle League sets, and I'll see you on the next video.